going to do two-step equations. So when I'm doing two-step equations or solving any equations, I can think of it as I'm wrapping a box and unwrapping a box, the do and undo method. If I'm going to wrap a brand new iPhone X, first thing I need to do is wrap it in tissue paper. Then I'm going to put the phone in a box, close the box, wrap the box with paper, and then tie the bow around the box. To undo or to unwrap the box, I first need to untie the bow, unwrap the box, open the box, take the phone out of the box, and finally unwrap the phone from the tissue paper. Solving equations are the exact same way. We're going to do an undo. First, you need to remember GEMDAS. It is grouping symbols, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. When we're doing the do and undo, we are always looking at the GEMDAS. We're going in that order. So our do, what is being done? I'm first looking for any grouping symbols, then exponents, then multiplication, then division, then addition, and finally subtraction. What is being done here? Well, we're subtracting 3. I go to do the undo. Undo, or the inverse of subtracting 3, is adding 3. So now I can come over here, and remember I always need to draw a wall. I'm going to do my undo is plus 3. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. X equals 10. Of course, I can check this by plugging it back in for x. X minus 3 equals 7. We'll do one more one-step equation using the do and undo method. What is being done? Again, I'm looking for the grouping symbols. There's nothing there. Exponents, there's no exponents. Multiplication. Remember, when there is a number directly in front of a variable, that is multiplication. So I have multiply by 4. Undo, the opposite or the inverse operation would be divide by 4. I go down for the do and back up for the undo. So I'm going to divide, I have my wall, both sides by 4. X equals 3. Again, I can plug that in. Say 4 times 3 equals 12, and 12 equals 12. Now we're going to take a step up and do two-step equations. The very first thing I'm going to do here is say do undo. I'm looking through. I am only looking on this side, the side that has the variable. Is there any grouping symbols? No. Is there any exponents? No. Is there multiplication? Yes. What's being multiplied? -9. Is there any adding? Yes. +1. Now I have to go back up in the undo. I'm doing the opposite, the inverse operation. So the inverse operation of adding 1 is subtracting 1. If I'm undoing a multiply -9, I'm going to divide by -9. So then I can come back over to the equation and follow my undo steps. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract both sides by 1. Remember, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. I can bring down my -9x equals -80 minus 1 is -81. That's done. Now it says the next undo step is to divide by -9. X is going to equal +9. And of course, you can plug that back in. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and that way you can try to work out the next problem. Once you have solved it, unpause to check the answer. All right, now that you have worked it out, let's try it together. I have my do and my undo. First thing I have, there's no grouping, there's no exponents, but I do see multiplication. So I'm going to say multiply by 9, and then I'm subtracting 7. So I have to do my undo, my inverse operation of -7 is plus 7. My inverse operation, or my undoing and multiplying 9, is dividing by 9. I draw my wall, and I add 7 to both sides. What I do to one side, I have to do the other. And remember, you're going to draw it directly under the constant. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So I just cross that out, bring down my 9x. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. That step's done. Now I have to divide by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, so I can just say x. 0 divided by 9 is 0. X equals 0. Now these two are a little bit trickier. We're going to look at this first one. It says negative 1 equals 5 plus x divided by 6. So first thing I'm going to write is my do and undo over to the right. This just helps me lay out, make a game plan of how to solve this problem. Now, if you would notice that all of this line right here, my division line, is under everything on the right side of the equal sign. That is essentially saying it's in parentheses. All of that is being divided by 6. So if all of that is being divided by 6 and it's in parentheses, that means that's what we have to do first, because remember, the grouping symbols are first. So what is being done to that x? Well, I'm going to look here. I'm looking directly in front of the constant to determine what's being done. There's nothing there, so it's a plus 5. So plus 5 here. After grouping, there's exponents. There's no exponents. We have multiplication. There's no multiplication, but there is division. We're dividing by 6. So when I go to do my undo, inverse operation of dividing 6 is multiplying 6. Inverse operation of plus 5 is minus 5. I have my wall. First thing I need to do, according to my undo, is multiply both sides by 6. That crosses out. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Bring down my 5 plus x at that step. Now I need to subtract both sides by negative 5. Let me just move this problem out of the way. 5 minus 5 is 0, so I can just cancel that out. I bring down my x. Negative 6 minus 5 is negative 11. If you were to check that, I have 5 plus negative 11 divided by 6. Negative 1 equals negative 6 divided by 6. Negative 1 equals negative. Now, this problem is a little bit different. Let me just erase some of this right here to give us some more room. Notice on the problem above here, the division sign was under everything. Here, the division sign is just under one term. So that means we're still going to treat it just like any other operation. So I have my do, my undo. So I'm still looking, I don't have parentheses because that line, the division line, isn't under everything. So there's no grouping symbols, there's no exponents, there's multiplication, but there is division. So my first do is divide by negative 4. I have plus 8. Do the undo method, so the inverse operation of plus 8 is minus 8. Inverse operation divided by negative 4 is multiplied by negative 4. So I go this way on my undo. First thing I'm going to do is draw my wall. Subtract 8 from both sides. Remember, you always have to, what you do on one side, you must do on the other to keep it balanced. 8 minus 8 is 0, so I can cross that out. Bring down my b divided by negative 4 equals 5 minus 8 is negative 3. So I'm done with that step. My next step is to multiply both sides by negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 1/4 is 1, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I have b equals 12. And there you go. Check this out.